And Digital Desk. I'm meteorologist Scott Mundt, and this is the latest edition of Whether or Not. It is Wednesday, November 19th, and a lot coming up on today's show as we'll stay warm through this coming weekend. We'll eventually get rid of the cloud cover in eastern KELOLAND, bringing some sunshine today. Temperatures warming above average, and we'll continue with above average temperatures through Sunday and even into early next week. We may take a step back tomorrow, but still a couple of degrees above average, 40s to near 50 degrees. We'll talk about Thanksgiving week, and also Brian and I will have a discussion about the Euro AI and what that is showing us as we go into Thanksgiving and beyond. Some interesting things are definitely showing up. So we'll have a discussion on the Euro AI. This is Futurecast for today, bringing in the clearing skies across eastern, southeastern KELOLAND. We'll have an increasing southerly wind. Could see some wind gusts around 20, 25 miles per hour, helping to mix up the atmosphere, scour out this cloud cover to help bring in the sunshine. And that in turn will help us warm 50s, 60s in south central and western South Dakota today. A little cooler tomorrow. Weak front moves through, changes that wind direction, but winds will not be strong. We'll continue with light winds. And for Friday, we are looking at a dry day. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer than what's expected for tomorrow, and we'll continue with these warm temperatures straight through this weekend. You can see our stronger southerly winds this afternoon. A lot of those showing up in eastern, southeastern South Dakota. Some of those wind gusts around 20. They may sneak into maybe that mid-20 mile per hour range. And then that's it for the wind. I'm not concerned about our wind speeds as we go through the rest of the work week and through this weekend. Temperatures for today, depending on how much sunshine we see, if we're stuck in those clouds in eastern and northeastern South Dakota, we may have temperatures only in the middle to upper 40s. In fact, that is showing up in Brookings, Watertown, and Marshall with temperatures in the middle 40s today. You can also throw in Worthington. It's all due to the cloud cover. We'll try to bring in some sunshine this afternoon in Sioux Falls, and that will help the temperature warm to 53. And notice those low to middle 60s in south central South Dakota, and forecasting a high of 60 in Rapid City. Tonight, we'll have a couple of clouds. Temperatures will fall to the 20s and 30s. We may have 20 show up across northern South Dakota. So coming up after the break, we are looking at these warm temperatures that will last straight through this coming weekend. Stay with us. You're watching Whether or Not. Welcome back to Whether or Not. I'm now joined by meteorologist Brian Karstens, who did not have a day off yesterday. Did you?
No, just changed my work routine though a little bit. Talked
good.
to the students out at JA Junior Achievement, and I believe, Scott, there were 3,600 eighth graders in the building at different points in the day, not all at
total,
once.
right? Yeah,
but
total.
School buses would come in, and they had an allotted amount of time, so then the students would come in and see a wide variety of industries and occupations and careers. And so we were honored to be part of that. It was a fun day, and got to meet a lot of great students and share a little bit about what we do.
Yeah, and this was to help the eighth graders maybe start thinking about what they can do in their future.
Yeah, and when you come into our department, I figured my best advice was to phrase things, what a STEM career looks like. Science and technology. There's a little engineering and meteorology when it comes to Doppler radars and manning the machines that we do, but primarily science, obviously, is where we're, given meteorology. So a lot of good conversation, a lot of good questions, thinking about how we do our job and why we do what we do. And then I even had the machines, like this particular graphics, our main control box that we have, like this here, this graphics machine. There's a whole nother part of this on the other side of the monitor, the left-hand side. And so what we did is we went right into the details, Scott. That was kind of fun.
Good. Kind of give them a better understanding as to what we do and how we do our job.
Yep. All the little buttons and various things that, and I think even with those conversations, we only skim the surface. That's a really interesting topic. we don't get into that on our programs, obviously, because we're more interested in the content. But how we develop the content is it's an interesting side note. So great day.
Good.
Glad it worked out.
Good.
So
good. Glad you went. Glad you had a good time with it too. And it sounds like they had a good time as well. Well, our weather pattern as we go through this coming weekend, it will be above average. Almost what you see is what you get. We'll have temperatures in the 50s today. Some may hit 60. Tomorrow, with the passage of a weak cold front, will fall a little, but still above average. The graphic that you're looking at, I have the climate average highs for tomorrow through Sunday. And what they average out to are the low to middle 40s. You see 42 in Sioux Falls and Pierre, 40 for the average there in Aberdeen, and 45 in Rapid City. On the right-hand side, I went ahead and took our forecast highs and averaged those out for tomorrow through Sunday, and you see how those numbers end up in the 50s to near 60 degrees for Rapid City. But we do have some changes on the way for Thanksgiving week. Stay with us. We'll talk more about that coming up. You're watching Weather or Not. Time to talk about Thanksgiving week, Brian. And I remember, you probably remember too, back at our days at Iowa State, we got that whole week off, didn't we?
We did. I do remember, though, I still had schoolwork to do because we had finals after that.
We had finals after that. But I remember I enjoyed that having that whole week off. And I even remember my freshman year. I was a little homesick, being from Northern Illinois, going to Iowa State, Ames, Iowa. And then after being home for a couple of days during Thanksgiving week, I'm like, I'm ready to go back. Ready to go back to school.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
I kind of went through that too a little bit. Freshman year you kind of deal with that, but I do remember my senior year, and I remember that Thanksgiving break. I was sitting and finishing up my senior thesis project.
Oh my goodness!
I remember that because I was in that dormitory at Friley. And it was there weren't very many people there. It was still open for a while.
Some of those dorms were left open, but the food service wasn't.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. But it was, there's a lot of memories of that Thanksgiving break. And for some, depending on what situations are now, I'm sure they still probably have a break over Thanksgiving. But then finals, and then it's December.
And then you get 4 weeks off before you head back where classes start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the day, and you remember how cold it was on Central Campus in January when the wind would blow and it was open?
I remember I had the internship in Des Moines, and we would go down there and practice in front of the green screen and everything, and the forecast high for the next day, I think, was 6 below, and they called off classes.
Yeah, but back in those days, they were more stingy on
calling things off.
Yeah, it was not... it had to be really bad. And I remember the old wind chill chart. You remember that? When the wind chills used to be minus 70. I remember those kind of numbers. And it was probably January of 1997. Boy, we're really getting off track here.
Well, it's an or not segment, I guess. But we're still talking weather.
But the cold, yeah. And that, of course, that winter was bad everywhere in the upper Midwest.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we're talking about cold. We'll get to that.
Well, yeah, good or bad memories. I guess it is that time of year. Cold can come.
We'll get to that coming up more so in the next weather segment. Though, as we do go through Thanksgiving week, things will start to change. We will start above average, much like what we'll have going through the rest of this week and into the weekend by Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday of next week. You do notice some cooler temperatures trying to move across western South Dakota. And for Thanksgiving Day itself, we have temperatures that will be below average as we'll have afternoon highs. Some of the models suggesting numbers in the upper 20s to the lower 30s for highs. And notice how those below average temperatures continue right through Friday. What about the chances for precipitation? This is on Monday. Again, this is fast forwarding to next week. It's trying to bring in a couple of showers, maybe in across extreme southeastern South Dakota, western and northwestern Iowa with a system to our south. Strong system that will bring in some decent amounts of precipitation to our south. We'll see how far to the north that goes, much like what we were watching for this Friday, that earlier we thought could bring in a chance for showers to southeastern KELOLAND. That's now well to our south that we're not worried about it.
Yeah, that started shifting a few days ago. And so, yeah, that's part of the process. We start with an idea, and then you can kind of funnel in and see where that goes. You brought up here, now this is all based off the European model.
The European model.
Okay, so this takes us out to Tuesday, busy travel time. So you've
Some
got
rain chances.
Well, right. I'm thinking Chicago. You can see that right there. You got a lot of rain into some of these airport hubs. So it is a factor to watch, even though this first system is not a snowstorm. It's still a rain event. There are probably thunderstorms in the warm sector. Notice there is a little snow up toward Winnipeg. There's a second low up there, Scott, I'll talk about in a second on my machine. But I know you're going to play this through Thanksgiving.
Yes, we're going into Wednesday, middle of the week. It looks dry. Things have cleared out to our east as well. And that's the reason why I do have an expanded view of this map, is just to bring in some other locations outside of KELOLAND as we go through next week. That's Thanksgiving Day itself. Keep in mind, temperatures will be below average, still pointing to the snow chances we have, but that's well to our north and to our northeast. And I'll go one more day here into Friday. Friday is looking dry, and I'm stopping there, Brian. I'm stopping at Friday next week.
So there's more to say, but
there's more to say that we'll talk about in our next segment.
Okay. I like that idea. Now, just to piggyback off of what you just talked about on the European model, here's the American version. Okay, so I'm just looking at the raw data. This is Monday, Tuesday of next week. Notice that you've got the system, the tracker here to the south. So that's Kansas, Missouri. That's a rainmaker. That's the southern branch of the jet stream that goes through this location there. Okay, now let's watch this wave up here in southern Canada. That's across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now, at this time, that is forecast to take a track kind of due east here a little bit. So let me, again, bring up the timeline. This goes right there. See, north of International Falls. Now, the issue there is that low would probably bring the first polar front prior to Thanksgiving. So that would take us into Wednesday. And if you look at the depiction here, the cold front's already through here. You've got a 1044 millibar high. That's cold. That's anything I know those numbers.
1040 and above.
Yeah, numbers, I know, well, what does that mean? Well, if you hear us talk about anything with high pressure and the pressure reading in millibars, okay, that's how that's a standardized way that we communicate in weather. That 1040 that's big. If it's 1044, anything above 1040, that's cold, dense air. It's cold and it has the ability to sink, of course, and that's why you get high pressure there. So, again, the building blocks, definitely there. You stopped on Friday?
Friday.
Okay, so I'll stop on Friday.
Right? Teasing everybody.
See, now look at this. This brings in Thanksgiving. Okay, so what's the number there? Well, it's not 1040, it's 1039. That's close enough.
Yeah,
that's cold. That's cold air, but that's high pressure. This is sprawled out like this. So that's not stormy. That's just cold, and that's important. That makes a big difference. I mean, people can drive through cold. That's not going to stop travel plans. But what it means here, Scott, is that after Thanksgiving, well, we'll see. We've got plenty to talk about there.
Yep, we wanted to stop that one at Friday. We'll stop it at Friday. We'll come back and we'll talk what the models are thinking maybe beyond Friday. Stay with us. You're watching Weather or Not. All right, here we go in our last segment. We have a lot to talk about. I'll go ahead and take the music down, bring up our two-shot here. And, Brian, let's talk about things after Black Friday of next week.
Yeah, I think we need to have a conversation about that. Because
I won't ask any other questions to get us off topic. Let's say, getting any shopping done. You plan on doing any shopping? No, let's just go right into what we're supposed to talk about.
All the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, we only got about 8 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. We're on a mission. Let's go. Let's talk about, first of all, on the big picture here. I had a conversation here in the last segment about the American model. We talked about the pattern going into Thanksgiving being a little colder. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on that model, but we're going to look at the upper air pattern. Okay. So blue, you see a couple different colors. You got blue and you've got some yellow or orange here. So what this signals to us is where these upper level disturbances are located, which gives us a better idea of the mean position of these storm tracks. And so when we look at the weather forecast, the dates up here, this is 26th of November, 27th, so that takes us right into Thanksgiving. And that is a northwest flow pattern, okay? So everything's coming in this way. And you can actually see as I toggle this, again, that's where that low I just talked about, that's that first front. So that kind of sets the foundation to building what comes next. Now, look what we're going to do here. We're now going to go out to Saturday, Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend. So look what we've got here. Upper level low pressure center. This is the troublemaker, okay? Now, how to handle this, and what I want to make sure we're clear about is we are not forecasting specific snow totals or storm tracks. You're going to see that stuff on social media, and I want you to be really careful about that because it's very easy to post a model run that looks like Armageddon, and then we're getting people riled up. That's not what we do. We are very careful about what we pick and choose to put on air and online. In the conversation we have here, though, Scott, and I think it's important we also mention that we have the liberty to show a few extra things on this program because we've got a little extra time.
We'll go through a couple other charts, too. And the one you're showing there, that's the GFS. That's the American run still. Now you're going over to the AI.
Yes. Now, this is AI technology off the European model. Look, same thing. This right here, okay? That's your upper air disturbance. Now, remember where that's located because now I'm going to switch up the maps here, okay? So follow with me. We're going to hit the pause button here. I'm going to bring down... Actually, I'm going to do this first. We're going to go and we're going to look at the temperature, okay? So we're going to click on the anomaly graphic. So now, as we pop up some interesting colors, let's backtrack this. There's Thanksgiving right there, okay? So this is the first cool down. Notice what the coloring is doing right through the Dakotas and in particular right in here. In fact... Scott, as we talk about this, let me go into the central view. Okay, right here.
There we go.
That's the story. This versus this, and what happens in between. And that's the tug of war that the models are going to have, and they're going to continue to have. So you can't lock in on the geographical position just yet. It's a fight. We don't know exactly how that battle is going to set up. But
can you go back to a different model run, say 12, 18 hours ago, even farther, and then just to see what the difference is?
Yep, great idea. I like that. Okay, so let's go back. This is yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Now look at that. Look how that map just changed.
And that's the same time frame.
Same time frame.
Yep.
Sunday morning. So this is Thanksgiving weekend. Okay, we're getting into the weekend. We're getting into Sunday, morning. So big cold there. Now let's go back. Let's go to this run. See that? It's not as impressive, but still there. I mean, there's definitely some cold. And if you really want to be particular, see that? If I go ahead in time into Monday, well, it's your old phrase. It's delayed but not denied. And it's going to be a timing issue.
Right, when you're talking about the cold.
Yeah.
And something that I've talked about, too, kind of behind the scenes there in the Storm Center during KELOLAND this morning is we've seen before where the cold air wins out and it pushes the snow to our south. It pushes the storm system to our south, and it stays there, and we just stay in the cold air with very little snow. So it could still, things can still go both ways. If you've seen any of those posts on social media that you were talking about, I haven't myself. I'm kind of taking a break from that stuff. That I'm sure those posts are just taking the model data at its worst and saying, this is coming by Saturday, Sunday of next week.
Well, right.
And whatever it is.
And again,
things change.
There are things that are going to change. Now, if you really want to read into the model, what it's telling us on the AI, okay, so see this here. So yeah, it wants to go and produce some snow here. But notice the orientation of the snow. It's coming in from the northwest. See that? Okay, so that right away is kind of a hybrid clipper type low. But the upper air disturbance we talked about out to the west, which I agree with. I think there's merit to that. Then this whole thing kind of gets its act together, that's Sunday, Monday. We already talked about the cold air being in place. So it's kind of like building I don't know what the best analogy here, Scott, is, but you think of the building blocks or all these ingredients. They're on the table for some cold weather, very cold, and also active weather. So we will continue to parse this out. We've got plenty of time yet to do that. And I think for today's discussion, this is a good step forward in that.
This is going out a week and a half from now.
Yeah. A week and a half is
not showing up in our 7-day forecast.
This is a long ways out yet. I mean, a week, 10 days. I mean, let's get into the 7-day forecast and then start picking apart more details. I think that to me seems like a wise idea. But yes, I do like to get ahead of this stuff because I know people are asking me already. Right. And I want to make this and this is going to be a great program to come and learn. Okay, so if you got time, and spread the word. If you got friends and neighbors who are interested or talking about the weather for Thanksgiving, tell them whether or not KELOLAND Plus, and we're going to have these in-depth discussions and other things that we talk about too. But it's interesting, and I know, Scott.
Do you want to bring up any numbers? Well, just for fun, or how about this? How about this? I have this up on mine, and we're down to about a minute and a half. Now, this is the AI version. And you've shown something like this before where you see the different time frames that it comes out, and it just compares it from model to model run. Well, yesterday we were up here, and it gave a lot of snow, and then it took it out. This is why things do change. Put it back in, but it delayed it.
Right.
And it kept it in, but it brought it in a little sooner. Right now it's keeping about the same time frame as the model run from 6 hours prior, and it's bringing in maybe some heavier snows. But we'll try to figure out those numbers as the days do get closer. How about this? Look at the temperatures. And I showed this yesterday with that cold air coming. That has temperatures in the, teens and 20s below, and then not as cold, brought it back in, 2-3 runs later, and then not as cold again.
It's interesting.
This is how things change in the world of weather, isn't it?
But all of those numbers are much colder than what we're used to. Even the more optimistic versions are telling us.
Below average, yes.
But people out there too are saying, "Well, yeah, it's we're turning the calendar to December, so it should be
cold.
It should be cold." You're right, and I know today's show we're not going to have time to get into this, but maybe tomorrow when you're gone, I'll talk a little bit about some of my stories from. I've got a lot of them from post Thanksgiving. We've made forecasts over 25 years. I've seen some big storms in South Dakota after Thanksgiving. So we're going to kind of look maybe a little bit about the history of those patterns, maybe how they compare to what we've got on our plate for this year.
Look forward to that. Sorry that I won't be here, but I'll be back on Friday. Oh, I could watch on demand. I don't need to be around at 9:30 or 1:30.
Then come back on Friday. We'll have a nice conversation, Scott.
All right, looking forward to that. Thank you for watching Weather or Not.